What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this video, thousands of people around the world are experiencing reality breaking down right before their eyes? Imagine walking into your kitchen, reaching for a glass you placed on the counter just minutes ago, only to find it sitting in your bedroom upstairs. You check security cameras, you ask family members. No one moved it. No logical explanation exists. Yet there it is, defying every law of physics you thought you understood. This isn't science fiction. This isn't a movie plot. These are real experiences happening to real people every single day, and the evidence is mounting that our reality might not be as solid as we think. You are not alone in this experience. Over 847,000 people have shared similar stories across online forums in just the past year. Reddit's Glitch in the Matrix community has documented over 100,000 cases of reality distortions. These aren't random internet stories. They're detailed accounts from teachers, doctors, engineers, and everyday people who have no reason to fabricate these experiences. The symptoms they describe are remarkably consistent. Objects teleporting, time seeming to skip or repeat, familiar places suddenly looking different, and that unmistakable feeling that something fundamental about reality has just shifted. When you experience a glitch, your first instinct is to question your own sanity. Did you really put your keys on the kitchen table? Or did you imagine it? Was that person really standing there a second ago? Or are you losing your mind? But here's what's disturbing. Multiple witnesses are reporting the same glitches simultaneously. Entire families watching objects disappear and reappear. Co-workers seeing the same impossible events unfold. Groups of friends experiencing identical reality distortions at the exact same moment. This isn't about memory lapses or individual perception errors. Something else is happening here. Let me share some documented cases that will make you question everything you think you know about the nature of reality. March 15, 2023, Portland, Oregon. Sarah Mitchell, a 34-year-old accountant, was preparing dinner when her measuring cup simply vanished from her hand mid-pour. Not dropped, not misplaced. It disappeared while she was actively holding it. Her husband witnessed the entire event from across the kitchen. They searched everywhere, tore apart cabinets, checked under appliances. 3 days later, the measuring cup reappeared in their bathroom medicine cabinet, a place neither of them had opened during the missing period. Both described feeling an overwhelming sense of wrongness, as if reality had hiccuped around them. October 2, 2023, Manchester, England. David Thompson was driving his usual route to work when he noticed construction equipment blocking a road that had never been under construction. Orange cones, workers in hard hats, the full setup. He took an alternate route, annoyed by the delay. That evening he drove the same path home. No construction, no evidence any work had ever been done. The road surface was old and weathered, showing no signs of recent activity. When he called the city council to inquire about the construction schedule, they had no record of any road work planned for that location. Ever. David still drives that route daily, constantly checking for signs of the construction that apparently never existed. January 18, 2024, Phoenix, Arizona. Maria Rodriguez experienced what she describes as a reality reset while shopping with her teenage daughter. They were in the cereal aisle when Maria reached for her usual brand, only to find the entire shelf configuration had changed. Different brands, different arrangements, products she'd never seen before. Her daughter noticed immediately, too, commenting that everything looked wrong. They left the aisle to ask an employee about the recent restocking. But when they returned just minutes later, the shelf was arranged exactly as it had always been, with Maria's usual cereal in its familiar spot. Both mother and daughter experienced the same disorientation, the same sense that reality had momentarily shifted into a different configuration. August 7th, 2024, Toronto, Canada. James Chen was reading a book in his study when he experienced what he calls time stuttering. He looked at his clock and saw 3:47 p.m. He continued reading, absorbed in the story for what felt like at least 30 minutes. When he checked the time again, it was still 3:47 p.m. The second hand on his wall clock was moving normally. His digital devices all showed the same time, But somehow, despite clearly experiencing the passage of time, no time had actually passed. His wife confirmed that she had heard him turning pages for an extended period, yet the timestamp on his phone showed no missed calls or messages during what should have been a 30-minute window that apparently never happened. You've probably experienced something similar yourself, haven't you? That moment when you walk into a room and something feels off, but you can't pinpoint what's changed. The sensation that you've had this exact conversation before, but you know with certainty that it's impossible. The eerie feeling when you see someone who looks exactly like a person you know, but in a place where that person couldn't possibly be. These experiences are so common that we've created names for them. Déjà vu, jamais vu, the Mandela effect. But what if these aren't quirks of human psychology? What if they're glimpses of something much larger and more unsettling? Before we dive deeper into the rabbit hole, let's address the elephant in the room. Skeptics have perfectly reasonable explanations for these phenomena. Memory is fallible, they argue. Our brains are constantly reconstructing past events, sometimes incorrectly. Stress, fatigue, and suggestion can create false memories. Confirmation bias makes us notice coincidences that support our beliefs while ignoring contradictory evidence. Sleep deprivation, medications, and even low blood sugar can cause perceptual distortions. These are all valid points, backed by decades of psychological research. But here's where it gets interesting. Many of these explanations fall apart when we examine the evidence more closely. Take the case of multiple witnesses experiencing identical glitches simultaneously. Shared false memories are extremely rare and typically involve major cultural events, not mundane household objects. The specificity and consistency of these reports across different cultures, age groups, and geographic locations suggest something beyond simple psychological phenomena. When a trained observer like a surgeon reports seeing surgical instruments teleport, or when multiple air traffic controllers witness the same radar anomaly, we're dealing with something that transcends individual perception errors. Recent advances in quantum physics have opened up new possibilities that were once purely theoretical. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics suggests that every quantum event splits reality into multiple branches, creating parallel universes where different outcomes occur. In this model, what we call glitches might actually be moments when these parallel realities briefly intersect or overlap. Dr. Hugh Everett III first proposed this theory in 1957, and while it remains controversial, it's gaining support among physicists as we discover more about quantum entanglement and superposition. Consider the implications. If multiple realities exist simultaneously, then occasionally, information or objects might bleed through from one reality to another. That measuring cup that disappeared from Sarah's kitchen might have existed in a parallel universe where she placed it in the medicine cabinet. David's construction site might have been real in a timeline where that road renovation was scheduled. Maria's cereal aisle might have temporarily displayed the arrangement from an alternate reality where different products were stocked. The simulation hypothesis, popularized by philosopher Nick Bostrom and endorsed by figures like Elon Musk, offers another compelling framework. If our reality is indeed a sophisticated computer simulation, then glitches would be exactly what we'd expect to see. Rendering errors, memory conflicts, and processing delays that manifest as reality distortions. When a simulation struggles to maintain consistency across multiple simultaneous processes, temporary anomalies would occur. Objects appearing in wrong locations, timeline inconsistencies, duplicate entities appearing simultaneously. Advanced civilizations running such simulations might periodically need to perform maintenance, updates, or error corrections. During these processes, users might experience brief periods where the normal rules don't apply. The simulation might temporarily display default values, previous save states, or test configurations. This would explain why glitches often involve objects returning to default locations or situations reverting to familiar patterns. Time slip phenomena add another layer of complexity to these experiences. Quantum mechanics tells us that time isn't the linear, unchanging river we experience in everyday life. At the quantum level, time can flow backward. Particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, and cause and effect relationships become fluid and unpredictable. If consciousness occasionally perceives reality at this quantum level, we might experience glimpses of past or future states, adjacent timelines, or moments where multiple possibilities coexist. The concept of quantum consciousness suggests that our awareness might not be confined to a single timeline or reality state. Some researchers propose that consciousness can access quantum superposition, experiencing multiple potential realities before they collapse into our perceived singular timeline. During these moments of expanded awareness, we might perceive aspects of alternate outcomes, other versions of ourselves, or different configurations of reality. Military research into remote viewing and consciousness-based information gathering has yielded intriguing results that support these theories. Declassified documents reveal decades of investigation into phenomena that don't fit traditional scientific models. While the details remain classified, the very existence of these programs suggests that anomalous experiences involving perception of non-local information are being taken seriously by serious researchers. Temporal manipulation technology, while still theoretical, is being actively investigated by several government agencies and private research organizations. If such technology exists, even in primitive form, it could explain reports of time distortions, temporal loops, and reality resets. The possibility that some glitches are artificially induced, whether as experiments, tests, or accidental byproducts of advanced technology, cannot be dismissed entirely. These experiences aren't new phenomena suddenly emerging in our digital age. Throughout history, cultures worldwide have reported similar reality distortions using different terminology. Ancient Celtic traditions describe thin places where the boundaries between worlds become permeable. Aboriginal dreamtime concepts involve fluid reality states where past, present, and future coexist. Hindu and Buddhist traditions speak of Maya, the illusory nature of perceived reality that occasionally reveals its true character. Native American traditions include numerous accounts of people slipping between worlds, experiencing parallel timelines, or witnessing reality shifts that mirror modern glitch reports. These historical precedents suggest that reality distortions have always occurred, but only recently have we developed the conceptual frameworks and communication technologies to recognize and document patterns across large populations. Medieval chronicles contain accounts of people disappearing from one location and appearing in another instantaneously, of objects manifesting from nowhere, of time periods that couldn't be accounted for. While these were often interpreted through religious or supernatural frameworks, the described experiences match contemporary glitch reports with remarkable consistency. The consistency of these reports across different time periods and cultures suggests that we're dealing with a fundamental aspect of reality that transcends individual psychology or cultural conditioning. The human nervous system might be naturally equipped to detect reality distortions, evolved to notice when something doesn't fit the expected patterns of cause and effect that govern survival in a stable environment. What's particularly fascinating is how these experiences cluster around periods of high stress, major life transitions, or moments of intense emotional significance. This correlation might indicate that consciousness plays an active role in determining which reality we experience. During periods when our certainty about the future is disrupted, we might become more susceptible to perceiving alternate possibilities or parallel outcomes. The technology we use daily, smartphones, GPS systems, digital cameras, is inadvertently creating the largest database of potential glitch evidence in human history. Timestamp inconsistencies, GPS coordinates that don't match actual locations, digital photos showing objects that weren't visible to the naked eye. These technological witnesses don't suffer from memory limitations or perceptual biases. When our devices record anomalies that contradict human experience, we're forced to question which version of events represents true reality. Modern physics tells us that observation fundamentally alters reality at the quantum level. The act of measuring a quantum system forces it to choose a specific state from multiple possibilities. If consciousness operates as a quantum measurement device, then our attention and expectations might literally determine which version of reality we experience. This could explain why glitches often occur when people aren't paying close attention, only becoming apparent when they try to verify their experiences. Social media and online forums have revealed that these experiences are far more common than anyone previously realized. People who once suffered in silence, convinced they were losing their sanity, now discover that thousands of others have had nearly identical experiences. The detailed documentation of these events is creating a new form of evidence that doesn't rely on traditional scientific instrumentation, but instead leverages the collective observation power of millions of individuals. Pattern analysis of these reports reveals disturbing trends. Glitches appear to be increasing in frequency and intensity over the past decade. The types of distortions are becoming more complex and longer-lasting. Multiple witness events are becoming more common. Whether this represents an actual increase in phenomena or simply better documentation of existing occurrences remains an open question, but the trend is undeniable. Some researchers suggest that we're approaching a critical threshold where the boundaries between parallel realities are becoming increasingly permeable. If multiple timelines or dimensional layers exist in close proximity, technological advancement, consciousness evolution, or natural cosmic cycles might be increasing the interaction between these layers. The result would be exactly what we're observing: more frequent and more noticeable reality glitches affecting larger numbers of people. The implications extend beyond simple curiosity about anomalous experiences. If reality is more fluid and subjective than we assume, then our understanding of causality, free will, and personal responsibility needs fundamental revision. If multiple versions of ourselves exist simultaneously across different timelines, which choices and actions represent our true character? If consciousness can access information from parallel possibilities, how do we distinguish between memory and imagination, between actual experience and glimpsed alternatives? These questions aren't merely philosophical abstractions. They have practical implications for how we interpret evidence, make decisions, and understand our place in the universe. If glitches represent authentic glimpses of alternate realities, then we need new frameworks for processing and integrating these experiences. If they're manifestations of advanced technology or natural phenomena we don't yet understand, then we need new scientific methodologies for investigation and verification. The people experiencing these glitches aren't seeking attention or trying to promote supernatural beliefs. They're ordinary individuals whose lives have been disrupted by experiences that don't fit any conventional explanation. Their accounts deserve serious consideration, not dismissive explanations that ignore the specific details and consistent patterns that characterize genuine anomalous phenomena. As we continue to document and analyze these experiences, patterns are emerging that suggest underlying mechanisms more complex than simple perceptual errors or memory failures. The specificity of the phenomena, the consistency across different demographics and cultures, the correlation with technological and consciousness development, all point to something real and significant happening at the edges of human experience. The matrix might be more fragile than we imagine. The reality we take for granted might be more constructed and less fundamental than we assume. The glitches might not be errors in our perception, but glimpses of the true nature of existence. Multiple, fluid, and far stranger than our everyday experience suggests. Whether we're living in a simulation, experiencing quantum consciousness effects, or witnessing the interaction of parallel dimensions, one thing is certain: reality is not as solid as it appears. What we're calling glitches might actually be features, not bugs, natural aspects of a far more complex and interconnected universe than our traditional scientific models suggest. As we develop better tools for detection and analysis, as more people share their experiences, and as our understanding of consciousness and quantum mechanics advances, We may discover that these anomalous experiences are actually normal aspects of existence that we're only now learning to recognize and understand. The question isn't whether these experiences are real. The evidence is overwhelming that they are. The question is what they mean for our understanding of consciousness, reality, and the nature of existence itself. Are we witnessing the breakdown of the boundaries between parallel worlds? Are we developing new capabilities for perceiving quantum reality? Are we living in a simulation that's beginning to show its seams? Or are we discovering aspects of consciousness and reality that have always existed but remained hidden until now? The answers to these questions will reshape our understanding of everything we thought we knew about the universe and our place within it. The glitches in the Matrix aren't going away. They're becoming more frequent and more obvious. The only question is whether we'll have the courage to follow the evidence wherever it leads, even if it means abandoning everything we thought we knew about the nature of reality. Have you experienced something that made you question the solidity of reality? That moment when the world seemed to skip, reset, or show you something that shouldn't have been possible? Share your story in the comments below. The more we document these experiences, the closer we come to understanding what's really happening to our reality. And trust me, after reading through thousands of these accounts, I'm convinced we're only seeing the beginning of something much larger and more significant than anyone realizes. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell because the next video in this series will explore the government documents that suggest some of these glitches might not be natural phenomena at all. What we've discovered will make you question everything you think you know about who's really in control of the reality we experience. Until then, keep your eyes open, trust your instincts, and remember, you're not crazy. You're just seeing what's really there.